Welcome back to Who's Watching,
where we watch so you don't have to. Today we'll be reviewing Rebecca, so let's get into it.
A young woman working in Monte Carlo for society's elite finds herself being courted by the well-known estate owner, Mr. De Winter. Falling fast for one another, Mr. De Winter proposes to the young woman. Through their honeymoon bliss, hints of Mr. De Winter's past seeps through as we learn about his previous wife's death. As the newlyweds finally arrive at the Manderley estate, the new Mrs. De Winter is not a welcomed replacement to Mr. De Winter's past wife, Rebecca. Through the film, the new Mrs. De Winters is met with conflict at every turn from the housekeeper, Mrs. Danvers, who has devoted her life to Rebecca. Filled with drama, horror, and lust, this 2-hour film takes the audience on a journey to find out what happened to Rebecca and if the new Mrs. De Winters will ever be loved and accepted the same as Rebecca once was.
So Elle, what did you think of the film?
So I wasn't a big fan of the film just because I thought it took a while to get going. I'm more into, I want action right away, or I want to know kind of how the storyline's going to go. And it kind of just took too long for me. But also with that being said, once it did get going, I really enjoyed the really great acting. I thought the acting was on point. It really was very dramatic, and as you had mentioned, filled with horror, lust, and drama, and that certainly really helped show through how great the acting was.
Yeah, I, on the other hand, loved the film. I know that it was a long movie, like 2 hours, kind of slow pacing, but I almost would say that that long, drawn-out pace of the film kind of added to the suspense and your need to want to find out what did happen to Rebecca, and you kind of are slowly led through the new Mrs. De Winters finding out about Rebecca and like all the clues that she's going through. And I will agree, it got a little bit old that she just kept getting beaten down by Mrs. Danvers and all of that. But I feel like at the end, once everything came together, I was appreciative of how long it took to get there, if that made sense.
Yeah, and adding on to that, I will say another thing I liked about the film was that there's like this mystery the whole time, not only about Rebecca and, Mr. De Winter's, passed away wife at this point, but also who's the main character, because as you just said in the summary, like a young woman, we never get a name of her, so it's definitely this mysterious kind of person in the film, but she is the main character at the same time. So I did really enjoy kind of trying to figure out if we're ever going to find out her name and so forth. So.
Yeah, going off of that, I would say that it almost kind of made her character more invisible and added to that effect that she's living in the shadows of Rebecca. They don't even have the, quote, decency to give her a name. Like, she is just the new Mrs. De Winters, and I feel like that's kind of shown throughout everything that happens in the film, where Mrs. Danvers is like, well, this was Rebecca's old hairbrush, this was what she used to do, and so I guess that might be the point of why they never gave her a name, but also I do agree it was a little bit strange that we never got that even at the end of the film.
Yeah, no, certainly.
So, who's watching?
Somebody.
And that's why we would give this film a 6 out of 10.
So if you're in for the long haul and mysterious movies, this is for you.
Come back next week for another movie review.